Hi, Warriors. Who's ready for the Consumer Pain Index? Are you Steve? Are you Bran, Mike, Ingmar? Tell me how you're ready. How do you prepare? Ryan, are you ready? James? Blake's
Always ready.
born. Blake was born ready. Let's see.
Always ready.
Paul Penman's always ready. Laura, I know she's got trade plans ready to go. John Hawken, Kudzu Mokashi, welcome to Face. Your first day here. Your life's going to change. How you will, Bran? Bring it on. There you go. Kurt Bell. Need some volatility. Much needed. Okay. RJ, Kurt Bell, John Hawkins. Only when Dale sings. All right. You've been here for years? Usually watch on YouTube. Okay. All right. So let's get ready for it. We have the whole team here, including Stel is here. So it's going to be a great show. As Ed Sullivan said, we're going to have a great shoe. I know you guys don't know who Ed Sullivan is.
I do, and I remember when you said that, but I had no idea. Remember you said you typed it one
Yeah,
time to our team,
yeah,
and I thought that was like a typo, and I
yeah,
had no idea that that was from the Ed Sullivan show. But
yeah,
I do remember that as a kid. The
yeah.
show.
Okay. Yeah, so instead of show, he would say shoe. So, okay. Um, let's say Ryan, well, just one thing I want to show. So it's Bitcoin. I believe this is a failing rally in Bitcoin. I was looking, talked about looking for a failing rally towards 10. Here it is. And I think that we're going to trade back under 100. Maybe that'll have something to do with if risk off ever happens, but maybe something like
It's a really nice Wyckoff if it fails here too.
yeah,
It,
we talked. Yeah, you brought that up when
yeah.
Bruce was here. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so there you go. I mean, it's possible. So
And
I'm
great
gonna
call
get.
on Netflix yesterday. Holy cow.
Oh yeah,
That
and
that thing
it's
actually just dumped all day long yesterday.
yeah, and it's not going to open so good either. Well, 11.99. I'm looking for this. About I think 1100 is possible here. So and this was the last. I mean, this one held up all the way even through the April crash, and these are all new all-time highs. Unlike a lot of the other Mag 7, like Nvidia is not close to all-time highs yet. And you know what? Keep an eye on Google because yesterday's action. Here's a daily. Looks to me it's pretty classic chart. We rallied right to resistance. So this has been one of the weaker recoveries as well. Talked about it yesterday, but I like starting to leave a wick, and it's right against this major level. Okay, and almost looks like you know, uh, say we get a correction in the S&Ps to 5,700. Okay, when the S&Ps are up here. So if the S&Ps can correct to 5,700, and this is the best it could do on that huge rally, I think you could almost expect new lows in Google if we get a correction. I also stepped back into Uber yesterday, so I got a.
Wait, something's out. Stocks are ripping right now.
Oh
Something's
shoot!
out. Something's out,
Oh,
guys. Just
uh, all right. Well, forget everything I just said. They're really ripping.
yeah. So I'm looking for the headlines. You see it,
Oh
Ryan?
yeah, it's back to unchanged.
No, I'm looking.
China now is
Well,
giving it back. Wow.
Yeah, Trump, we are getting a 55% tariffs. China is getting 10%. Our deal with China is done subject to Xi's approval. Uh, we will provide to China what was agreed to. So Trump saying the deal is done, but I think the market might be getting over itself a little bit because the deal was potentially what they agreed previously at the Geneva thing. So I don't know if it's anything more than that. Let me just check his old truth bombs.
Okay, I just closed out my QEN just so.
You come in ready to know what to do, and then tape on. See what Bitcoin's doing on it. Yeah, Bitcoin's
Welcome
really
to the Trump era.
yeah, welcome. The second. This one's this time he's on steroids. So
Well, the good
Stel,
news is you got Stelios here. You got
what's so great
Steve,
about
right?
that?
I know.
Yeah, I know. That
You
guy.
know, I've
He
9 years
sucks.
I've been listening to this guy.
Yeah,
I need
I
some
hate that
fresh
guy.
blood.
All right,
I'm giving you the screen,
I
bro.
can take the screen just for a bit,
All right.
and before everything goes
Before
crazy.
another
Yeah.
truth
Okay.
bomb.
The
Go
screen. There
ahead.
we go. So, of course, there's obviously stuff happening with Trump and China, but nothing firm yet. So I'm going to leave that there at the moment. But I'm just going to look at a couple of things. I always start with yields, and I still think that we're going to be testing lower levels in yields. I am wrong. I think, there's this trend line, which is only 2 points. So I'm not, I mean, I think I'm wrong above 480. I don't have a position in bonds at the moment, but I think that we're going to be testing lower yields. And of course, CPI today is going to be moving markets for sure, especially if it's a price outside the expected range.
If we
Let's have a look
break
at
out of that triangle, Stel, do you pull in your horns on that call?
what
Yeah.
what does pulling my horns mean?
Your conviction, you pull it in a
Oh,
little
oh,
bit.
if we break out of here,
Yeah.
no, I think if we break up above 480, then something has changed.
Above
I think
480
we could break above this,
and
but
not mean anything. Okay.
well, not mean anything, but you know what I mean. I think for me, this is where I change my view.
Okay.
So let's take a look at a few things. Okay, let's start with metals because it's the easiest one. Gold is consolidating sideways. I wrote a piece about a blog post about precious metals, gold, silver, and platinum a couple of days ago. It's on the Forex Analytics site. Actually, I'll post a link
Great
to it.
call on platinum, still ripping.
Yes, it is. And out of the three, my preferred is platinum, then silver, then gold. Because let's face it, gold always leads and then everything else follows. Still, gold is not bearish in any way. This is a consolidation, which I think will most likely resolve to the upside. Could we get a pullback towards, the fib here, third, even lower, even towards 2,800? Of course we could. It would be a huge move for gold, but I think buy on dips for sure. But gold is not performing as well at the moment. Silver isn't either, although it's done an amazing job over the past week or so. I took out a third of my long, and considering what I'm going to do, the breakout point was 34.80. We broke out and then just went ballistic. Now we are pulling back and still within this channel. So I still have 2/3 of the position I'm watching, but platinum is the one I really like, and this breakout was incredible because not only did we break out, we retested and then went. So this was fantastic. I actually took out a third of my longs in platinum as well. As people who know me and have been members in the Forex Analytics community and chat room, they know I scale in and I scale out. And this has been really, really powerful. I mean, look at the RSI here. It's really strong, but it's gone very fast, very far. So I think we will see some kind of a pullback. But it has been pushing higher like there's no tomorrow. And really the next resistance from here is 1340, which is the previous high. But this is still my favorite long, and I do think we're going to see a pullback at some point today, tomorrow. I don't know. Friday is usually a negative day for metals, so I wouldn't exclude this possibility this week as well. But anyway, metals are doing well and they're catching up to gold, the other two metals. Equities is it's a difficult one. I still think you put a gun to my head, I'll still buy this because it feels like we are going to be getting some kind of headline, like just now, right? Oh, we might be getting a deal. Market's going to rally on it for sure. What happens next is a different thing. I think we will see new all-time highs before we have a proper correction lower. So I think
What if inflation comes in hot today?
that's a
You know,
good question.
I mean, if CPI comes in like just above expectations, do you think stocks rally on that?
No, I don't think so. The immediate reaction always on high inflation prints is risk gets sold, metals get sold, dollar rallies. So I think that's going to be the case today. The question is what happens a week from now, not to today's response to the data. So what is Powell going to do?
Hey,
Is
don't
he
you
going to
know
be?
who Stel is? He's the macro guy at FA.
Yeah.
You had your own little column, macro. So he's like our Galileo.
Yeah, I mean, you're right though, on a daily or, maybe a few days reaction, anything can happen. But I think given the circumstances at the moment, and given that I think that yields are not going to be breaking out anytime soon, I think that stocks will probably continue higher, maybe take out these all-time highs, go a little bit further, and then I think eventually we'll see a retracement. So for now, you put a gun to my head, I'll still buy stocks, I'll still buy cryptos, everything. I think even cryptos, right? And Bitcoin is very close to its all-time highs. And at the moment, there's nothing bearish about this. So, you can get a few days of negative price action, but still the macro environment for me is still constructive for risk until further notice. There will come a time when I'm bearish.
Will you
That's not the
call
case
me?
at the moment. I will call you for sure.
Thank you,
Um,
bud.
equities, currencies. I think this is what's going to happen to the Dixie, and I drew this about a month ago.
Yeah.
And okay, it's not following exactly, but I think we will have this scenario where yields are dropping, dollar drops, risk rallies, and then after that we see what happens. There are a couple of FX pairs which are interesting. The one I really like, and the one I'm going to be shorting today. I'm going to wait for the data, is dollar CAD, because we've had this really long trend line from 2021, and we are broken and we're retesting. And this for me is the perfect setup. I love a break and retest, especially if it's a long-standing pattern or trend line or channel, whatever it is. So I like this to the short side. I'm going to wait for a CPI. If it's weak, then I really don't mind missing the first few, 10, 20, 30 pips, because I think this move has legs and we're going to be testing for sure, or not for sure, nothing's for sure, but the 134.50 is the obvious magnet. So I don't mind losing the first 20, 30 pips to get, 100 or
And
150s.
where's your stop on a close back over the trend line?
Yes, exactly. So anywhere above 37.5, let's
40.
say.
So let me ask
37.40,
you,
yeah.
do you put a hard stop in there or you wait for the close and not have
No,
one
I
in?
will put a hard stop for that. For
Yeah, you're
in
like
in
me.
in general, in FX, I always put hard stops. For other stuff like metals and commodities and other stuff, I generally wait for daily and weekly closes because my trade horizon is a lot
Yeah,
farther. This is going to be a much shorter time frame for me,
right.
which is not typical for me, but I do this on occasion.
So that's a real reasonable risk.
Yeah, I
And it's
like the risk
tight.
return on that. Yeah,
Doing it.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
What do you
so
think of oil here,
oil
Stel?
is a tricky one because we have been in this support zone. We broke below. We're kind of retesting. It needs to move lower now. I think the path is lower, but I am wrong above near here. Anything above 67.50, I think we're not going lower. So at least technically, it will be invalidating this kind of breakdown and retest.
Yeah.
So,
So
I mean, there was some news out of Iran that said nuclear deal within reach can be achieved
Right.
rapidly, and apparently that's what turned crude higher. I don't
I don't know
know.
why. Yeah, it's
I don't know why that
counterintuitive.
would.
I,
Oh wait,
I,
no, wait. Iran's defense minister, in case of conflict with U.S., Tehran will strike American bases in the region. So
yeah. So yeah,
yeah,
there you
maybe
go.
that's what turned it higher
Yeah.
overnight.
On the flip side, though, you have the Saudis who keep talking about increasing production, and they what they always do, right? They increase production, they grab more market share because their cost of production is a lot lower than most other countries, and then so they don't care if oil, they don't care. They can withstand oil at $40 for a lot longer time than others. So they've done this over and over again, and I think they're going to be increasing production if they have to, and then that drives price lower. They get bigger market share. Then they can let the price go higher.
Yeah,
Not
So
why
many
wouldn't
oil
you?
bulls around. Not many
yeah,
oil bulls.
yeah,
I
fair
think
enough.
Anasiology and me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so
that's more or less from me.
and I was going to say we got to get set up for CPI today.
Yes.
You know, and Dale, you said it. I said it during the week ahead video as well. The market's very short crude, and no one's bullish. So that like in my opinion was the perfect setup. That's why we put in a pattern in play this week. And
Oh,
I
good for
think
you.
yeah. I mean, well, I mean, it looks like it could ramp up to $70 pretty easily, right? I mean, you know
Yeah.
that it, I mean.
We have a breakout, so I think it has to hold 63. It's not a line, as you say, it's a mattress. So it moved sideways, couldn't close over 63 for about a month, and finally did it, I think, Friday. I just had a flat line across crude
Yeah,
oil. Anyway,
this one right here that you're the and what's interesting, so
yeah,
this flat line through here, right?
I did a little lower, but it's the same principle.
Yeah, it's like previous
Yeah.
lows. I was actually surprised. Well, I mean, the
Okay,
Iranian
I
news.
I had it where you have your second black line. No, no, no. Right underneath your other one.
Oh,
That
here through here. So
extend that.
it looked like
Yeah,
that.
against those highs. A little lower against those sides. Yeah.
Got it.
Anyway, a line's a
Y-
line.
Oh yeah, a line. But the thing is this is all we had a really big reversal candle yesterday at
Yeah.
these previous support levels. And I was like, oh man, you know, crude's gonna turn. But this, you know, you get these headlines just like the ones we just got a few minutes ago from, you know, DJT, and you know, it moves the markets. And Iranian news, you know, hit the crude market. So, you know, Stelios, I talked about on the week ahead video. I mentioned you about coming on the show last week and talking about this dollar CAD. It's trading it abnormally heavy, uh, and I mean it is, but it hasn't really broken yet. And I think you're right. This is the number that I was looking at 137.40 as well. You know, we break above that, and then it's going to squeeze. I think Leandro thinks it's going to turn today. There's actually a couple things, and let's talk about CPI today. And Ryan mentioned this on his Flow show this morning. If you guys aren't listening to the Flow show, when I get up in the morning, I actually play the Flow show when I get up because it catches me up with everything between listening to Ryan, going through the live squawk feed and going back to, okay, I went to sleep here. You know, I went to sleep right here. What happened after I got up? You know, I'm listening to Ryan, listening to, you know, K-Man usually, reading through these headlines. That's how I get caught up on, you know, from when I was asleep. Since I don't have anything yet that summarizes what's happened for me overnight, I can read through all this and I can actually you know see, you know, or listen to what Ryan's talking about and K-Man and usually when he's here. So Stelios, I was you know, thinking about what you had said about, you know, being short the dollar CAD if there's weak data. Ryan said this morning on the Flow show that we're going to get a bigger reaction from weak data because everybody's expecting fairly firm CPI. I mean, if you look at the data, and Ryan, you can chime in here and you know about this as well. You look at this Wednesday, what we're looking for with CPI. Core, we're looking for 0.1% higher than previous month. Year over year, obviously, is going to be it's higher just due to the way that, you know, you get the drop off after a year. You know, they take last year's data, taking this month's data, and then that it's supposed to be 2.9%. Anyway, the headline number month over month is expected to be 0.2%. But how about if that number comes in at 0.3%? That's where we start looking at, some fairly, bullish dollar reaction. But the market's expecting that. So why do you say that if the data is weaker, we're going to get a bigger response there? And what is your favorite currency du jour today? Brian? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just like you said, because we're expecting inflation to come higher, we've got the tariffs going in, so costs have gone up. We've had nothing but firms saying that costs have gone up, so it should be expected that inflation goes higher. The Fed's expecting it in one way, shape, or form. So yeah, if it comes in high, I mean, obviously, if it comes in massively high, like above 3% in the core, 2.8 in the headline, then it's going to get a bullish reaction. But the bigger risk is if it's softer, because when you get CPI dropping, when everyone's expecting it to go up, that's when everyone who's been thinking the Fed are going to be cutting later and later, all those expectations will probably change. But looking at the mood the dollar is in at the moment, risk and whatever yields, we've got 10s up near 4.5% again. Just got to see whether the market's going to take this trade news and mix it in with the CPI. The cleanest trade for me.
What's your favorite currency? What's your favorite pair to play if it is weaker data? Because I'm with Stelios here. I'm more apt to short the dollar CAD right now, just because it's still in breakdown territory. Or I'm looking to maybe play the euro because the euro's just not backing away. But what are you going to look to play?
I think stocks. I think the S&P is probably the best one to pick, because if on a hot one, if we get a hot one and we see a dip in stocks, I think the mood that the stock market's in at the moment, that's a dip worth buying if it's reasonable. From this point, maybe down to 6,000, something like that, 610, 612. That'll be reasonable on hot numbers. On soft numbers, it's going to fly anyway. As for the dollar yen, it's knocking around. It's above this 145 now, 144.90. My zone is a bit of support. It confirmed that earlier on.
So if you got hot data here, I agree with you. Hot data, dollar yen trades back up to, well, it's a triangle resistance. It'd be a Gartley completion, which would be a bearish Gartley reversal up at 147. But that should take us back to 147. Wouldn't you think on hot data?
No idea about your monkey patterns, but 146 probably at least, and we got a bit of resistance up there from the last time we were there.
Well, let's talk about this really quick, because you get hot data. Stocks aren't going to like hot data. If the data's too hot, the porridge, the three little bears, if the porridge is too hot, then you're going to have the stock market come off. But will the dollar yen actually rally if that happens?
Yeah, it should
be
do.
yields.
It should do. Yeah, but it's exactly, Dale. We're dollar yen's back on the yield bus at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah. Right now
Okay.
it is. Whether that comes up again, I mean, if you put the 10-year up short term and match it against the dollar yen, you'll see exactly that. We're knocking around this 4.5% mark again in 10s, and we're walking hand in hand for now. How long that lasts, I don't know. But a dip in stocks. Stocks have been going up for the last couple of weeks since that dip, and I don't think the CPI report's going to derail that, especially if we're getting trade deals and further reduction in all these trade tensions. That's just a boom for stocks. I'm surprised they're not higher now after Trump's comments.
Well, that's the thing. You take these comments from Trump. You take the non-farm payroll from last week. You guys don't forget, we just had non-farm payroll. It's like, but we all have ADHD, because I'm sitting there going, looking at Sterling going, hey man, on weak data, maybe this one's a good play back to the upside. But we did have weaker UK jobs just less than 36 hours ago. So, we all forget what the hell just happened, because we can only focus one day at a time. And I'm talking about all of us as traders. But why hasn't the S&P broken out to the upside with all this good data? Why? Why, Ryan? Why?
Well, why
Tell me
is it
why?
not,
Are we there yet?
why is it not collapsed with all this good data?
Why we're not rallying on this good data?
We are, but it's a slow grind at the moment,
Okay.
because you look at it, and this trade stuff is just an agreement on what they agreed for a month ago, but it's not another move towards hostilities. They're not going backwards, so it's small steps forwards, not backwards, and the stock market's doing the same. Small steps forwards, not going backwards. If you'd asked me on Monday, what's the CPI going to do for stocks if it's a hot number? Let me have a quick look. Where were we Monday? We were sub Monday, Tuesday, sub 6,000 ish.
Right.
You probably say, oh, we might be going to 59. But now you think a dip because of the mood the stock market's in, you probably get a dip and then it's going to rally and break the current highs. So that, whatever it is, 40s, 60, 49, I've got on my screen. We're probably going to go and break that high because today's mood is different from Monday's mood, might be different for tomorrow's mood, and that's what we're trading at the moment. You can't pick something 2 days ago and stick with that theory, because there's 50 million headlines that have moved the sentiment.
All right. Well, okay. You say the weaker data is going to give us weaker data is going to be good for equities, and stronger data, the dollar yen's going to rally. I see Steve is here. Steve, we got just a couple of minutes. You have any input on things that you might be looking at, post CPI, and what you'd be looking to play?
I think you you more or less covered all bases. CPI is definitely the most important number because, in essence, the CPI is the only thing that has been holding central banks from loosening further. And that's why I think it's, especially for equities, it's going to be the most important piece of data.
Sure thing. Now let me ask you this, Steve. You've been like Stelios, you've been pretty bullish precious metals for a while. But would you be chasing gold and silver higher at these levels? I mean, silver's had a really, really nice move. Would you be chasing them higher here?
I've said a few weeks ago that I wouldn't be chasing gold higher because, in my opinion, silver and platinum have become a lot more appealing in comparison.
Yeah. So it's more about not just plain.
I would rather go with platinum, silver, or even the GDX or the SIL at the moment.
All right, very good for you precious metal folks. Dale, we have 2 minutes before the data comes out. Any last minute thoughts here? And before I let you go, we have the S&P to the left, dollar index in the middle, all 15-minute charts, yields to the right. Be kind of scouting out what's happening with currencies over here, and then we have data flash that comes off the Forex Analytix platform. We have it right here where you'll see instant numbers as they're being released. So any thoughts here, Dale, before the data comes out?
I might be tempted to sell into dollar strength. If that happens, I'll look at levels. I think that Bitcoin is putting in a failing rally up here for a B wave with a C to follow back under 100K.
All right. And I'm with you, Dale. If the euro dipped back below 114, I'd be a buyer today. If the data comes in, like, let's just say it's in line, which that's probably what we're going to get. We're going to get something in line. Dollar firms up a little bit. Euro drops to 114. I'd be a buyer down there if we see it.
Sometimes you look at a chart and it just has destiny, and euro has destiny to take out that high over 1550 and trade 16 and a half.
And it really could get there on weak data today. I mean, if the data is weak, because no one's expecting that. Ryan, we have. I'm sorry, Dale.
May take a few days.
Yes. Maybe by the end of the week. Ryan, we got 15 seconds. Any last minute thoughts?
Nope.
All right. Stelios, I know Stelios is around. He usually bows out right after the data. Any last minute thoughts here, Stel?
No, 4 seconds, 3.
Here we
Let's
go.
see.
Oh, shit.
What is it?
That's
Well,
weak.
in line.
Oh, my
and the
God.
floor is
0.1
unchanged.
lower. 0.1 lower.
Holy shit. Oh my God. I got triggered all sorts of dollar shorts in that move. Holy cow. Wow. Well,
Well, that's a
guys.
big move for in
So
line.
today's a Stelios day. He nailed everything.
I mean, that is weak, and I got tripped in all sorts of trades. So let's see if they sustain. Oh my God, look at how weak that is. Holy cow.
So we talked about Euro having destiny. It's on its way to its mansion in the Hamptons.
Yep. Yep. Wow. I didn't wasn't expecting that week of data. Holy cow.
Did the metals take off on that weak dollar too?
Oh
Not
yeah.
doing much. Only a little bit. Not doing much
Oh,
yet.
okay, yeah, here there's
Cryptos are rallying.
oh my goodness. This could, Dale, you're talking about, what could put the euro, above 115. Well,
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah.
So this is the data that could actually drive that bus.
That's
Um,
a big reaction for those numbers. The year-on-year CPI, Reuters had 2.5, Bloomberg had 2.4, so that came in line, and the core number matched last month. So it hasn't gone down; it just missed expectations. I think this is a bit of a overreaction. I've bought a bit of dollar yen down in the 70s on that, and I might have a little nibble of dollar CAD into my 50 level as well.
oh wow. You keep saying you want to buy the dollar CAD. And I get what you're saying, but I don't. I mean, I say, you know what? Screw that. I don't get what you're saying. So why are you buying the dollar CAD down here? I followed you last week and I bought it. I don't know why the hell I bought it. I bought it just because I was in the Forex Analytics chat room and you're like, oh, I'm buying dollar CAD down here, and so is a couple other people. I still don't see what you see. So. And by the way, this is the Forex Analytics chat room. You want to know what everybody's trading? You can actually see. There's me. I'm that one lone green thing. You can see what all these other traders are doing, what Ryan's doing. But why are you buying the dollar CAD?
Why?
Yes, I want to know why. And tell me, are we there yet, Dad?
Yeah, do you want me to take the screen? I'll show you why.
Yeah, please do. And then I know Dale's got his guess.
That's
So
what it's in. Yeah, sure. So I'll be quick, Dale.
all right.
Don't worry, man. Okan's a buddy of mine.
136.50. 136.50. How many times would you like it to interact with 136.50 going back? Oh, where are we going back to? All the way through here, 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 all the way through here. Oh, in there. 136.50. That's my line. It's one of my biggies.
Okay, all right. It's a line. It's a level. It's a level. It's important. So
Yeah.
very good. All right. All right. Well, thanks for showing us that. And Dale, thanks for guiding us today. And Stelios, great to hear your analysis as always. And I just scalped out of the euro for another 20 pips. So I'm out. I just scalped out of the euro.
Nice.
So,
I
yep.
just put on my black light and I'm playing Riders on the Storm by the Doors.
Nice.
It relaxes me during trading hours. Anyway, Okan, I know you're not into corporate life, but I'm trying to I'm trying to promote you. And if you would please accept it, we'll be able to talk. And team, great prep. Stel, a lot of what you talked about manifesting on our screen.
I get lucky
And
sometimes.
yeah, so nice calls. And Blake, dream team, no one better out there. And I rest my case. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Cheers, mate.
All right.
Thank you, Coach.
I'll see
Gonna
you
grab the
guys
screen back, mate.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And thanks, Ryan. I always need a dose of that black chart every once in a while. Brings me back to my childhood. Thanks, man. It was dark. It was dark. Anyway, so Okan, you're back,
Hello,
buddy.
how are you?
I'm
Can
doing
you hear
pretty
me?
good. Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm very fine. Thank you. I've been listening to your guest comments, and they were very precious. And while they were talking about the markets and the inflation data, actually, I was expecting the other way that in that the CPI would come a little higher than expected, but I see that it's now lower than expected. But
Yeah.
since then, I've been thinking about these markets, what they're gonna do, but I haven't changed my mind about what
Okay.
I'm. Yeah.
Grab your screen, and while you're doing that, what's
Okay.
a guy? What's a guy on the street in Turkey right now?
Uh,
Talking about what might happen between the U.S., Iran, and Israel.
you mean the man on the street? What the
Like
man on?
you, like Okan Abar.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
man on the
I
street. You're when you're on the street, and
yeah
plus you're a man. You are
yeah
now a man on the street.
yeah. Okay. So what is the man thinking about? What's
Yeah,
going on in the Middle East?
yeah.
Well,
Kabuki
it's a
Theater.
Well, no, it's a horrible things going on there
Okay.
because people are. It's a very tragic situation. I've been thinking, how these people are surviving without any help and food. So
Oh, and
it's
in Gaza.
yeah,
Yeah,
so it's
it
very
is
difficult.
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. From humanity side, is of course is terrible. But looking
Yes.
at the situation from the bigger perspective, I mean, what can be bigger than this anyway? But well, let's say from political perspective, I think that there is this kind of uh, kind of war between the not between the Russia and US going on in Syria, but it's kind of a conflict between the US and the UK. That has been going on in
In
the
Syria, the allies are fighting for control of Syria, you're saying. UK
not
and US.
yeah, but more than that, not the crude oil that they are having conflict about. It's more about the natural gas resources sitting under
Syria.
and yeah, the Syrian
Okay.
sea.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah,
about that, isn't it?
right. Yeah. So I mean, for me, crude oil is no longer an issue between countries, and it will be less issue in the future because the crude oil demand will go down.
Okay,
Well, I know that
because of EVs or demographics.
many things. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
despite the rising population in the world, yes, there in nominal terms, the demand for crude oil will continue, of course, but in real terms, it will start to go down in the next few years. And these countries don't set their political agenda for the next 1 or 2 years. They set their political agendas for
Okay.
10 years, if 30
Well,
years.
the question I led with, and you've talked about every other region in the Middle East except the question I asked you about.
What was that?
So, what do you think is going to happen with Iran, Israel, and
Ah,
the U.S.?
oh, yeah. Well, some way down the road, if the Iran and US cannot have any agreement, which I don't think they will, uh, in the end, Israel and Iran will have some military conflict.
Okay.
But I don't know when, but it will happen. It happened last year.
Yes.
We have seen
But it
some.
wasn't it wasn't about taking out nuclear. Last last time they didn't even go near
Yeah, but they tested
nuclear.
each other. They
Yeah,
tested each
right,
other.
right. Okay.
So it also shows that they will not be reluctant to do anything like that. You know, this last year's scene showed us that they're not going to be reluctant in attacking each other.
Yeah, Turkey has been pretty vocal about that, to form an alliance against Israel. Isn't that true?
Uh, Turkey is trying to stay aside of this uh, conflict, uh, but
Uh-huh.
but well, I tell you this: the government is squeezed between the public demands and the government's targets. The government wants to have a good relationship with Israel, but the public demand is not aligned with that politics.
Okay.
S-
Yeah.
so, so yeah,
Everything's
so
bifurcated.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Okay.
it's really difficult to say, but I know that the Turkish government wouldn't want to have any issue with Israel for many reasons.
Okay.
Uh,
And how about Russia? Things are really escalating there. Our new president wasn't able to end the war in a day.
yeah.
So, uh, to me, it feels it's getting scarier. I mean, a lot of people are celebrating these strikes by the Ukrainians. They had another one 1,000 miles into the Soviet Union. I worry about a nuclear response from Putin because Kissinger said the way he de-escalates is through escalation. So I don't know if 1,000 drones is it. Uh, what do you think is happening there?
Well, I don't know the Russians' capability, the drones' capability, but they have many other capabilities.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I think this last attack performed by Ukraine was driven by UK, and
Okay.
so so
Yeah.
UK is actually behind the scenes. UK is regulating the level of tensions.
Yeah.
So UK will not never allow the tensions to go to such extremes so that Russia attacks with a nuclear bomb. I mean that's going to be crazy.
Not even a tactical nuke in Ukraine.
Ah,
That would put the whole world on notice actually if you
right,
did
right.
something
I
like that.
mean, if they do that, that's going to be the time when the war ends. If they do that.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, who wants this war to really stop? I mean, that's the question. I mean, Trump said, "I'm going to end the war in a day." Not because he couldn't, he didn't. Uh,
You don't think
be,
he really wanted to?
no, no. If he
Okay.
wanted to, if he really wanted to end the war, he wouldn't treat Vladimir Zelensky in the White House. Next
Yeah.
2 months ago. The
Yeah.
way
Tr
I mean, that was too
uh,
much.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to what you're good at. And
Okay.
that's forecasting markets and uh Ocon uses a lot of metrics that most people don't even look at or even know about. So you know, put your thinking caps on because you're going to learn from this guy. And what's top of mind in the financial markets for you, Ocon?
Yeah.
Weaker dollar continuation move.
Uh, the last time we spoke, I mentioned that the dollar would lose some
Do,
value.
do you want to
Uh,
show your screen?
yes. Is it not?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right.
There you go. Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
There you go. Okay. The last time I spoke, I was talking about the dollar being weaker. Now, yeah, it will continue to be weaker in the months ahead, but in the weeks ahead, in the shorter term, I think that there will be a comeback in the dollar strength. And I want to show you why I think so. If you look at the screen, I am okay. This yellow line is the yield curve, the 2 and 10-year difference between the yield between the yields of the 2 years and 10 years. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you can see from April until today, there's a slight increase of this curve. This suggests that
Yeah.
there might be some strength in the dollars to come. And in the meantime, I am looking at this 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 red line here, which is the tips, the 2-year tips. You see, these
Yeah.
2-year tips are
Wow,
rising.
what a move. That's
Yeah,
big.
it's a big move, big move.
Yeah.
From I mean, you look at that, it's
It was
0.30.
four. They've tripled, quadrupled.
Exactly.
Wow, no
So,
one's talking about that.
so this is the reason why this has increased is because the risk premium of US has risen in the last couple of
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
And if you remember, 2 weeks ago, I believe, US risk rating was downgraded.
Oh yeah, Moody's.
Moody's, yeah, downgraded
Do you know
the
that I tweeted about that 3 days before it happened? That
yeah,
Moody's was going to. Do you?
yeah,
I don't know. I was in my pyramid with my tinfoil hat on, and it just, I don't know, it just came to me.
yeah.
Try
So,
it. Try that mystical analysis, man.
right.
Go ahead.
Okay, and also, no, I am gonna link this thing with the break-even curve. I mean, the break-even rate,
Yeah.
which is the purple line. If you look at this, it is showing us that the expectations or the expectation the inflation expectations for the next 2 years is set at 247 right nowadays, and it's low,
Yeah.
getting lower. All right, for
Yeah.
in the last 2 months, it has been going lower, but
Right.
this is going to change. This might change. Why? Because if you recognize, lastly, this yellow line, which is the yield curve, the 2 10 years yield curve, and this purple line, which is the break even, they move together. But in
Mm.
the last
Yeah.
1.5 months, while the curve was rising, which implies that there's a risk chance of there's less chance of um, uh, recession.
Mhm.
This is what it shows, but the
Yeah.
break-even curve is going down. This is not normal. I mean, this is supposed to turn a little bit higher, and
So
this is the
what's it implying? Economic weakness or what?
no. This implies that the inflation
It's
pressures are
dropping.
going to they're dropping, although they're not supposed to drop as this much. Okay, so they're not supposed to. That's the reason why I was expecting the today's announcement to be higher than expected. Well, it
Yeah.
came lower than expected, but I was expecting
Well,
this is the
you're an economist. I've heard the argument that the tariffs, the consensus view narrative is that they're going to be inflationary.
exactly.
I've actually heard though the opposite case being made that they would be deflationary because consumers will just pull in their horns and not pay the prices. Is that how you could get what that line is telling you? Is there a possibility that these are deflationary, these tariffs?
Well, when I hear the tariffs first time, I told myself, okay, inflation is coming.
Yeah,
But to be able to make to be able to answer your question, you know you have to we have to know the elasticity, demand elasticity of the products that are taking that are being counted in the inflation. I mean,
yeah.
without that information, it is difficult to say. I mean, why would there be less demand because the prices are going to rise? I don't know.
Because people are broke.
Well, okay, so if people are really in trouble and if the consumer confidence is really low, then or is getting lower, then that's possible. But if you look at the consumer confidence, it's
Yeah,
still
they're
high.
okay. Yeah, they have their
So
HELOCs and
you're
everything.
right. So
Okay,
so we
so you're looking for that line to catch up with the bottom line, that it's
exactly.
lagging right
So
now.
I think that this break even should be rising higher in the weeks ahead to align with this yield curve, which is the yellow line. So
Okay.
this also implies that if this purple line is going to increase in the next couple of weeks, it also means that the tips should be falling a little bit, which suggests that the risk of the dollar, the risk premium of the dollar will fall, and it will give some strength, it will give some boost to the
Oh,
dollar.
okay, what do you think? Euro back to 110?
Not too much, not maybe 10, maybe 111.50,
Okay. Yeah, that's
112,
not much.
just a little bit pullback,
Can we go
but
to 116 first?
uh, that I would say is possible when I re, re, when I consider the volatility. That's
Okay.
very, very possible, but it will be a transitionary move. So even if it goes to 116, it will pull back. I mean,
Yeah, I
I cannot see any economic reason why the dollar should fall as low as 116 or 117 and stay there.
okay, got it.
But, but I
Is that your highest conviction call? A rebound in the dollar around the corner in the next few weeks?
Right. In the next few weeks, there will be some strength in the dollar, but in between from today until maybe next 2 weeks, I don't know if for example, the euro dollar is going to hit 116 or even 117. I cannot say, but from volatility perspective,
Well,
it's
no
very
one could
possible.
say, no one could say, but that
Yeah.
is but people can bet. That's my bet.
Well,
Um,
my
you
bet
know,
is my bet is there will be some maybe to squeeze the shorts, maybe further move to this 116 or even 117 is possible.
yeah.
And
But there
and
are more of the shorts are bearish dollar. There aren't a lot of you know, that the
yeah.
shorts are on the other side of the boat. So I mean, how many euro bears there's a ton of euro bulls, not euro bears. So who's getting squeezed?
Ah, I have to look at the COT index for that.
Yeah,
Is
okay.
minimum of triggers index.
Okay.
I
That's okay.
let me
You want to do
hold
that?
on.
Sure. Uh Professor Okane Bear analyzing on the fly, live in face. There's nothing like live TV. Brings out the creative juices in my guests. Put them under a lot of pressure, and that's where you get the good stuff. Here we
Okay,
go.
trying to see
Yeah.
I can I cannot look at it right now, but
Okay.
from
Well, get
when
back
I
to me. Okay.
okay. In the meantime, I am opening the COT for well, okay. I see that right now I'm looking at another screen. I see 69,000 long positions are sitting there. It looks like it is going higher, but this doesn't stop me saying that the euro will continue
Yeah.
to go
Yeah,
higher.
momentum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
just
momentum.
flows. Flows could take it there. Do you have a view on risk in the markets? We had that crash, and now we're almost at new all-time highs in the S&Ps. Have you ever seen anything like this in your career?
Uh, no, I haven't looked at it, Dale, but
Okay.
uh, I I was actually going to talk about more on this one,
Okay.
this
That's fine.
gold,
Okay.
if you don't
So,
mind.
no, I don't mind. I
Okay.
like all your stuff, man. And the fact that you're talking gold makes me pay attention to it. So go ahead.
All right. Now this is gold. We
Yeah.
have this white line is the gold price.
Yeah.
This the red line. This red line is the volatility, the 1 month volatility of the gold.
Yeah.
And the blue one is the convenience yield. The last time we spoke, I said the convenience yield was going lower, so there would be some pressure. The gold would be under some pressure until $3,000. Well, it didn't. It came only up down as low as $3,100, $129, like here,
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
But it hasn't gone up as low as 3,000. Anyway,
Right.
now things are changing. I think the convenience yield, this blue line is set to rise, and which means that the traders are no longer buying the forward contracts. I mean, not they're buying less 1 year forward contracts and buying the spot. So they are buying the gold physically. This is what it shows. So the market participants are um, preferring to buy the gold not on a contract basis but on a spot basis, so physically. So there is a physical demand coming here, which means that the gold um, may see even higher prices than today. I mean, as
Yeah.
maybe 3,500, as high as 3,000. Maybe it may hit this earlier top here, which is what, 3,005.
You know,
Oh,
I think about that statement that people don't want to go and buy, forwards, that they're going right to the spot market. It makes me think of the Shanghai exchange. That's why it was created, cash and carry. But it also tells me paper is easily traded, right? You could be,
yeah,
long a December gold future, right? As a forward and just hit the button. But if people are taking delivery on this stuff, it's not going to flow back to the market so easily because I know what it's like. If you're a physical holder, you're not tempted just to click a button and liquidate. It's difficult, and to me that means that gold is not being traded; it's taken off the market. What do you
yeah.
think?
Uh, well, well, if people are taking the deliveries,
Yeah,
they don't they don't take their deliveries just to re-deliver it back to the market. They want to
that's what.
have it.
That's it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
so this is a very strong sign
yeah,
that the gold has even higher potential even in this year
yeah.
and next year too. And look at what's going on in the world. I
It's
mean,
a monster.
look at the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is 110,000 $110,000. I mean, that is crazy. If the Bitcoin is $110,000, why should the gold not be like on $5,000? Okay.
Yeah,
And
that's
so I mean,
So dollar pullback after maybe a little bit higher, and higher gold prices because it's delivery, and those are my two takeaways.
Yeah, and one more thing.
Okay.
Look, this red line is the volatility.
Yes.
The volatility is way high, and it's difficult for this volatility to go even higher. I would say, at least in the
Wow.
look. I
It was
mean,
like a volatility breakout at that 20
exactly.
level.
I mean, there have been higher volatilities, but that's when
Mm,
2020. I mean, this is a crazy time. So, but this volatility is close to 2020's volatility. So I would say if the convenience yield is rising, which means if the physical demand is rising, it's a very strong signal for the gold. And if the gold is going to continue to rise, then this volatility should fall, right? So this also explains why, I mean, this one here, if the volatility falls, then the gold price will continue to go higher. That's the only way to explain for the gold to go for this volatility to go down. The gold should go higher.
okay.
That's the only way you can explain it.
And the dollar recovery, how does that fit into the gold? Two separate entities, doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. They will. I understand what you mean. They will diverge for some time, but that's the reason also why I think that the dollar strength will be transitionary. I said it
Yeah.
will be transitionary. It will. We will see the dollar strength only maybe down from euro point of view, maybe 111.50,
Yeah.
112, maybe that much, or not too much.
Well, it
Uh,
sure took a long time for the gold silver ratio to catch up with the dollar, because I remember you used to use gold silver ratio as kind of correlated with the dollar.
yeah,
But
that's
when
here.
it
It's
did
here.
it, it did it in a big way.
Exactly. So while you were talking about the gold zero, I put the chart here for the gold zero silver,
Hmm.
linking it to the DXY. The DXY chart is the red one. The red
Hmm.
line is the DXY, and the blue is the blue line is the gold silver ratio.
Yeah.
And look at the convenience yield differential between the gold and the silver. This is the
Yeah.
white line. It,
Right.
this the if this convenience yield of the gold and silver differential is set to rise, and it suggests that the gold silver also may increase, which may pull the DXY a little higher in the near future. But
Okay. So
again, that's
you're looking for a bounce in the gold silver ratio.
yes, which
Okay. Back
also
to what? 95, back to 100. Any idea?
maybe as high as 95, not 100, but
Okay.
95, not too
Okay.
much.
Got it.
So this again, my reason to think this way is the differential between the gold and the convenience yield differential between the gold and silver. So it's going in favor of gold. So we might see some pullback in the gold silver ratio in the next few weeks to come, which may trigger some dollar strength here. This red line, which is the
Yeah.
dollar, it may bounce a little bit from 98, maybe to even 101, something higher than 100 for sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, best way for the people that watched you today live on X and live on YouTube and see the recordings later, Okan, are you looking for people to contact you?
if they would like to contact me, they can write me on Twitter, X.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
And
if they have any questions, I'll be more than happy to help them answer their questions.
okay. And Okan Abar, I've been talking to him for a while. Really has an interesting view on the markets, as you can see. And I learn every time he's here. It either reinforces or debunks some of my narratives. So I appreciate it today, my trading warrior brother.
Thank you. I appreciate too.
Inshallah, bro.
Inshallah.
All right, Okan Abar, I'll talk to you in the summer, okay, buddy?
Sure. Okay. Anytime.
August, like around August.
It's always pleasure talking to you.
All right. We enjoyed, we appreciate it, and Saloom, you were absent for the whole 20% decline. Where'd you go?
What is that?
No,
F.A.C.E?
I'm just talking to one of the members. I thought
Oh,
maybe he went to the bank. Some people appear during bull phases and disappear. Anyway, I'm here in all phases. So thanks a lot, Okan, and remember everyone, don't just count your spreads and count your gold silver ratio and dollar direct, count your blessings, and we'll see you all tomorrow. You could join the team in 9 minutes on the morning edge to see what the best community, what the guys are up to after F.A.C.E. So that's a wrap. Thanks again, Okan.
thank you, Dale.
Take care, my brother. I'll talk to you in about 3 months.
Sure.
Okay.
Pleasure.
All right. And see everyone else tomorrow. Adios.